Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we're going to be talking about what actually just happened and why the Dow Jones actually fell 500 points. Before I start the video, guys, please make sure to leave a like on the video below. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Join the family, guys. Let's go on our investing journey together. So, if you guys don't know, news just came out that President Trump actually tested positive for coronavirus, and this is obviously going to have a huge effect on the market. If you guys don't know, Trump testing positive for coronavirus sank the Dow 500 points, which is a lot. I mean, obviously, the stock market in itself is pretty sensitive. We're in the midst of a pandemic. We have elections going on, and President Trump just tested positive for coronavirus. Obviously, I don't like to make my videos super political, but I know that it does have a lot to do with the actual stock market and how it affects the stock market and what to expect going forward with the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and all these other stocks. Everything was doing pretty well for itself. Everything was kind of slowly making a recovery. We're starting to get used to the pandemic a little bit more. But as you guys know, election season is here, so it does make the stock market pretty sensitive, right? A lot of people generally think that when President Trump is up for elections and debates are going on and stuff like that, it tends to have a huge effect on the overall market. And I know that once voting starts to happen, it's going to continue to have an overall effect on the market itself. But today, 20 minutes ago, President Trump and his First Lady both tested positive for coronavirus. Now they're going to be going into quarantine. I don't know how the presidential debates are going to continue or how everything is actually going to be going on now that President Trump, if he has to make a speech and stuff like that. But I know it's going to start weighing heavy on the stock market itself. And as you guys know, the stock market already is really sensitive and the stock market reacts super volatile to these kinds of times. I haven't seen the stock market this volatile in a very long time. And I know that overall, the stock market is going to eventually make a recovery, but I want everyone to just be careful with your money while you're investing. If you bought calls, just be careful. And if you bought puts, you're probably going to be making a lot of money overall. But just know that this news that President Trump caught coronavirus, he's going to be quarantining for 10 to 14 days, going to have an overall effect, making all these stocks and making all the big time kind of ETFs sink a lot of points. And I just want you guys to know and kind of give you guys a quick update on the overall situation. And overall, everybody does have to understand that, the markets are already very sensitive. So President Trump getting coronavirus basically is just going to make the markets a lot worse than they already are. Like I said, the markets are super reacting to news. So any type of news that makes, any type of good or bad news makes the stock market rally up super high or actually sink a lot. For example, let's say, tomorrow in the current week, the jobs end up job claims continue to fall. Everything is looking up. A lot more people are hiring. And the stock market rallies, let's say 600 points. And then the next week, something happens that's bad. For example, Carnival has to extend cruise bans, or airlines are not getting bailout or stuff like that, making the stock market sink in itself. So you guys have to understand that when it comes to these volatile times, you guys have to be careful with your money. You guys have to be careful in what you're actually putting your money into. Stocks like the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, these are the most sensitive stocks just overall because they are ETFs. They measure the market, how the market's actually doing, especially when it comes to the S&P 500, measuring 500 stocks overall. You have to understand that when big news does hit the market like this, it's going to make the market super volatile, and it's going to make a lot of people want to sell off their stocks. Nobody knows. For example, let's say, God forbid, that President Trump passed away due to the coronavirus. Then the stock market would go crazy from there. People always react to the worst case scenario. That's why the stock market is sinking, and that's why it's probably going to sink for a little bit. I don't know how long it's going to sink for. I would say a couple of days maybe. Could be better by Monday. No one knows. It's usually green on Mondays. I did want to make an update video on why everything started to sink all of a sudden and why everything is just kind of going to go haywire in the next couple of days. They got elections. And I want everybody to understand that this time of year is probably the most time you guys should be careful when it comes to investing overall. You have to remember that, we're in the midst of a pandemic, which doesn't happen every day. We have election time coming up, which is already makes the market super volatile. President Trump just tested for coronavirus. A lot of people have to understand that coronavirus is still a thing, and people are still susceptible to it, even though you're the president of the United States. Let me know down in the comment section below, guys, what you think of the current situation. Do you think that this is going to make a huge effect on the stock market in the coming days? Do you think it's just going to be a one-day thing? I'm curious to know everybody's thoughts. and kind of why everything started to sink. That's all I really have to say about the video, guys. Please make sure to leave a like on the video below.